Indeed, appears you have another martyr to hold up. It is a pity you were unable to recover her body. Booster leaned back, pressing his hands behind him against the surface of the desk. When we got there, I sent recovery teams out. We found Captain Jansen still alive, just barely. Got him into Bacta. All the Bacta on Thyfera wouldn't have helped the Quarren. Your Isard and the rest, I suspect they burned up in the gas giant. Kind of fitting for rogue pilot's blaze of glory. And all. True, but this presents something of a problem because I had a different glory in mind for one of them. Feya shifted in his chair and studied the talons on his left hand. I was wondering if you had considered going back to look for more bodies. The eyebrow above Booster's mechanical eye shot up. Go back into a war zone to a system guarded by a ship better armed than this to look for bodies that long since have been sucked into a gas giant? I've no reason to do that. But your daughter's husband. Booster's voice dropped into a bass growl. He's dead and I'm helping her deal with that. And I want to help the Bothan people deal with their grief too. Feya looked up. The Bothan people hold dear the memory of the martyrs, but the Imperial troops who killed them also destroyed their bodies. The monument on Bothawui is empty and, because of that, it is diminished somewhat. I wish to see a sire interred there, and I am willing to cover the costs of an expedition to find her. I really think, if you went back, you would find Isard's body. Booster frowned. Did you miss what I said? It's not there. And I think you missed what I said. I need a body as a symbol. Feya smiled. I think a man who is as resourceful as you could find a suitable body, and you would be well rewarded for that search. Booster's mouth slowly opened as he sat forward. You think I could just find a Bothan body out there? Quote. I have the utmost respect for your ability to get things done discreetly. Even if it meant the death of a Bothan? There are bandits and others whose lives will come to no useful end. This could redeem them. The Bothan smiled. I would be most generous and grateful. You would find my gratitude very useful. Perhaps I would. Booster slid from the desk and peered past Feya for a second, and then snatched him up by the front of his tunic and hauled him out of his chair. The counselor struck at Booster's arms and felt the chair go tumbling behind him. As surprised as he was, it took him a moment to remember his claws could open the man's arms in seconds. Booster slammed Feya into a bulkhead with tooth-rattling force. All reason evaporated from Feya's brain as stars exploded before his eyes. The man hammered him into the wall again, and then drove his forehead into the Bothan's sensitive snout. Feya raised his hands to protect his nose, and then felt a heavy fist pound his stomach. Air woofed from him, and he wanted to vomit. The dim closeness of the office vanished as the man carried him out to the docking bay and tossed him to the deck. Booster towered over him, his fists doubled, and Feya shrank back, pulling himself along the decking. For a moment. Then he remembered who he was. He stopped, but still flinched as Booster feinted with a fist. Booster straightened up and posted his fists on his hips. I don't know how your Bothan martyrs got their hands on Death Star plans, but I'll bet it wasn't by asking others to do their wet work for them. It's pretty evident you don't think highly of me, my species, or my ship. I won't say I can't be bought, but I can't be bought by the likes of you. He lowered his voice. How you could even dream of sealing some glidbiter away in Isard's tomb, I don't know. Borsk Feya felt the hot lash of the man's words and almost, for a nanosecond, let shame ruffle the fur on the back of his head. I never had Isard's compliance with my wishes, and I would have had it from the grave. It would have been for the glory of Bothans. Could that be wrong? Yet, before he could frame an answer, his bodyguards arrived at his side and were helping him up. His embarrassment at needing their aid swallowed any shame he might have felt. Borsk coughed and rubbed at his nose. You have misunderstood. Booster waved away his words. Oh, I understood you. You didn't Understand me? When I smack someone into a bulkhead and toss him on the deck, that's me saying he should get his carcass off my ship. The other things, the headbutt and the stomach punch, that was just because I don't like you. Then our business is concluded. Borsk Feya freed his arms from his bodyguard's grips and straightened his tunic. I shall not forget this. Booster Tarek. Never did think you were stupid enough to let this lesson get away from you. Booster pointed at his shuttle. Get off my ship, now. Quote. Booster watched as the shuttle descended from the errant Venture's belly and unfolded its wings. That was a nasty piece of business. That's one way of describing it. Ayala Wesiri's heels clicked against the decking as she walked over to him. Borsk Feya is not the sort of enemy I'd want to make. I've made worse. Have you? She shook her head. Feya's the kind who will go after you. After your friends' friends. He knows you know Caird. So any of Caird's associates will be on his enemies list. Through Corin, anyone connected with Corsac will be an enemy. Booster smiled. And the downside to that is? You don't mean that. For the most part you're right. Booster frowned. How is she? Last Bacta treatment now. Mirax is with her. Should be there for another 2 hours. Booster sighed. No improvement in her memory? Of the events at Distna, no. Everything else, including her last meeting with Feya, that's all fine. Ayala shrugged. She's not going to be very helpful in letting us know what happened at Distna, but when we figure it out and go after the folks responsible, she'll be ready to go with us. And willing to do her own wet work. Booster watched Feya's shuttle become a dim speck. It's a start, and I bet there will be plenty of wet work by the time we're done.